They seemed like a family that had overcome tragedy. A loving nurse, a grieving widower, and his resilient daughter. But behind closed doors, a dark secret was waiting to be uncovered. What really happened to Nerlande Foreste? This is a story of betrayal, loss, and a disappearance that shattered a family. "41-year-old Nerlande Foreste worked as a registered nurse. She was described as dedicated and was always smiling and excited to meet new people. She had met and married a man named Jean-Pierre. Nerlande came to be Jean's second wife. His first wife and several of their children died during the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, as they were crushed inside her home. It was said that his daughter, Jodeline, had spent at least 3 days buried in rubble, with her dead mom and sister nearby. She came out as the sole survivor, but she unfortunately lost a leg in the earthquake. Jean and Jodeline then came to the US as refugees. Nerlande had already left Haiti for America before the earthquake. When Jean married Nerlande and integrated her into their lives, his daughter, 14 years old at the time, felt like she finally had a mother figure, and she had a loving relationship with her stepmom. The family settled in the Rothbury apartment complex in Montgomery Village in Maryland. They were active in church, and the daughter thrived in school. From the outside looking in, they looked like the perfect family. Little did they know, it was anything but perfect. You see, on August 21st, 2019, an ordinary day, Jodeline had been at home with her stepmom before she had to leave for a church event, not knowing it would be the last time she would see her stepmom again. After the event, she texted her dad and stepmom, asking for a ride home, but there was no response. Her dad eventually called her using the home's landline, telling her that he had lost his cell phone and wouldn't be able to pick her up. Jodeline had thought it was strange that her dad was calling from the landline, as he called her at a time when he usually would be playing soccer. She got back home, and upon reaching the front door of her home, Jodeline stated that it took several minutes of knocking before her dad opened the door to let her in. As she began to walk towards her parents' bedroom, her dad stood in front of the door, refusing Jodeline entry into the master bedroom, stating that Nerlande was asleep and they could speak in the morning. The next day, while her dad was at work, the teen was able to get into the bedroom, and she saw it unusually messy, with bedsheets on the floor and multiple items out of place, and she found her stepmom's car keys and purse. The master bathroom was also described as unkempt, with a broken towel hanger and soap dish. On August 23, 2019, Jean was prompted by his daughter about where her stepmom was. His response was, "Oh, who knows? Maybe she left. Maybe she decided to leave." But his daughter thought it was strange that she would leave without saying anything. Jean then left for work, and he later returned home with a carpet cleaner that was used in the master bedroom. With still no word on her stepmom's whereabouts, on August 24, 2019, Jodeline decided to report her stepmom missing to police. But at the station, Jodeline learned that her dad already filed a missing person report. Police arrived at Jean's apartment with a warrant to interview him and inspect the apartment, and they noticed an inch-long scratch on his arm. They questioned him about it, and he said that it was from a soccer game he attended. Investigators noticed a bottle of bleach and paper towels and detected the smell of cleaning products. Jean was questioned about his wife's disappearance, and he told police that his wife stopped speaking to him and that he suspected that she was cheating on him. He told police that on the morning of August 22, 2019, he witnessed his wife leave the apartment with her purse, but that her work badge, phone, and house keys were in the apartment. And because he thought she was cheating, he didn't care that she didn't return when he came home in the evening. But according to her family, Nerlande was known for never leaving the house without a wig on. But police discovered that all of her wigs were left in her closet at the time of her disappearance. They had searched her car and found that her purse, containing her driver's license and cell phone, were found in the glove compartment. Police were convinced that Nerlande did not leave on her own accord, as too many of her personal effects were left behind. While police searched the master bedroom and bathroom, they found blood splatter, and so detectives collected DNA samples from the victim's brother and sister to confirm, and it showed that there was a higher than 99.9% chance the blood found in the bedroom belonged to their sibling. Jean was interviewed further, where he eventually confessed to stabbing his wife and placing her body inside a shipping container, carrying it to a dumpster in the early morning hours of August 22, 2019. Jean said many times in the interview that his wife was gone and she was never coming back, stating that her body would never be found. Investigators attempted to recover her body by repeatedly searching the Montgomery County's incinerator in Dickerson with cadaver dogs in an attempt to find her remains, but they were unsuccessful. The crime leaves Jodeline without a mother for the second time in her short, tragedy-stricken life. Jean was taken to custody on August 28, 2019, and was indicted for the murder of his wife on September 26, 2019. Although her remains were never recovered, a no-body murder trial took place, where Jean's daughter was the star witness. She testified that the master bedroom and bath was in a state of disarray, as if there was an altercation or a struggle, and that her dad went to great lengths to clean up the murder scene. She brought to light the possibility that the altercation could have stemmed from a heated argument between her stepmom and her dad. She testified that she had observed an argument between them, and it was about Jean's alleged romantic relationship with the mom of Jodeline's half-sister, which he had denied. It was also discussed in court that the couple's marriage had been fallen apart at the time of her disappearance, and that it was characterized as a marriage of convenience rather than love, as it was said that Jean was only in the relationship to get a green card, and when they searched his phone, they found out that he was having affairs with multiple women. It was suggested that Nerlande had confronted Jean on his infidelity, and that's when he became violent, ending her life and erasing her existence completely. Based on Jean's confession, DNA evidence, and his own daughter's testimony, in May 2023, 50-year-old Jean-Pierre was convicted of second-degree murder of his wife and was sentenced to 40 years in prison.
State's Attorney John McCarthy says a no-body murder conviction has happened only 3 times in the history of the state of Maryland. A jury convicted 50-year-old Jean-Pierre for murdering his then 41-year-old wife, Nerlande Foreste, in that Montgomery County village home in August 2019. Now, the jury deliberated for just 2 hours after a 5-day trial, even though investigators never found Forest's body. Today, a judge sentenced him to 40 years behind bars. That's the maximum allowed for his case. Foreste was Pierre's second wife. His first wife and several children died in 2010 when the earthquake that shook Haiti and killed over 250,000 people. Pierre and his daughter came to the United States as refugees. Foreste was also from Haiti. We heard from her older brother after the sentencing today about how much he misses his sister.
We did not have a great life. So that's why we moved here. And to find a better life. So me and my sister, we spoke every day. We used to speak every day, every morning, going to work.
Prosecutors say Pierre stabbed Foreste to death, then put her body in a shipping container and carried it out to a dumpster. Her remains were never recovered. It was Pierre's 14-year-old daughter who at the time contacted police when she became concerned about her missing stepmother. His daughter not only participated in the investigation willingly with the police, but also testified against him during the trial.
That biological daughter was absolutely instrumental to our ability to bring justice to this case. The defendant would have, after he murdered and disposed of the body, would have liked to have forgotten about this, but it was his biological daughter.
Pierre did not speak to the press after the sentencing today. Sharon?
What's sad about this case is that Nerlande's family was robbed of the ability to bury her and have closure, as her body was never recovered, and most likely never will be. That is all for now on this case. Let me know your thoughts on it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. See you next time on Melanin Mysteries.